this is just an example of the 2 hour chart. So you could look at this. I always kind of tell people that if you see the red and green stripes, right? We call that kind of like our Nightmare on Elm Street configuration. And so if you can kind of, even if you have to squeeze it together, the more of those stripes that you see, generally speaking, the more volatile it is, the more inconsistent it's been. And so when you can pull a chart together and not see those, and it's pretty common, don't get me wrong, it's pretty common to see more of them in smaller time frames. But the key to getting away from the stripes is a lot of times either A, find a different asset, or B, find a larger time frame that has more consistency, right? So you see a lot more stripes in these time frames because it's the 2 hour than you do over here as it's the 1 day. Matic is a great example. I mean, I'm sure there's a few great examples here, but you know, this is over the course of many days, right? This is from really over the course of much of January. And then same thing over here, right? If we look at the fact that this is when the new year happened, all the way through beginning of February, that has been a pretty consistent volatility boundary or cloud. And if I look at KuCoin, right, we can kind of see that overall volatility expectations have been kept in check. We've got two pressure lines protecting the upside. Right now, it is an orange breakout bar, as indicated by the orange price action label. But, you know, we're still kind of in danger of downtrend until we have a sustainable breach of that pressure line. And then it might be a great time to take a long position on KuCoin with a stop loss, right? If you do the DIIO method, then you want to have a stop loss based on your strategy. If you're buying a long-term position, then you might make your stop loss a bit more loose, right? If this is probably the case for anybody who is actually buying the asset and not playing the leverage game. Those people might be willing to lose, you know, 5, 8, maybe even 10%, and just hoping to make that great entry. But in the case that price action comes down, I'm willing to lose up to 6, 7% of my capital, because that would invalidate my theory that that was a great entry. And then I'd want to wait. I'd want to get out of my position and maybe wait for more downside and maybe consider entering at a new, more improved, even lower position, right? Like if your stop loss kicked off right there on KuCoin, you may say, oh, I'm out at 9.91. And we would all agree that if and when price action went down to $7.30, maybe it would be a blessing in disguise, right? Because you can actually acquire much more KCS than you would have been able to even here. So even though you lost some, maybe it was a good thing if the amount of money that you had allocated for KCS allowed you to get more shares down here. Should you believe that we're going into a bull cycle like a lot of people do? And should you kind of just overall look at the big picture of this trend, right? Long period of time here. Maybe it's possible to dollar cost average in at different places here, and then if it goes here, you really put in some capital. So a lot of different strategies. I don't think anyone's right or wrong. You just have to make decisions based on your goals and your risk tolerance. And if you want to kind of hedge yourself in what you're doing, then I think dollar cost averaging in and out of projects is a way to go, because a lot of people would otherwise go all in, right? I'm going to put all my money into one thing. I'm going to take all my money out of one thing. And they never think of it in terms of percentages and pulling out, you know, a little bit here, a little bit there, when statistical probability says downside is likely to come. And they never think about injecting capital little by little when statistical probability says upside is likely to come. Instead, they say, I'm going to throw everything I got at it right now, right here. So just some things to consider.